Did you ever ask yourself, how am I going to improve my skill, because you're investing a lot of hours in your game but you're still not getting further, you feel that you cannot better, but there are actually some things, some skills you can train, some hardware improvements you can do which will really take your skill level to the next level. So in today's video I'll explain you all of this right after the intro. Let's go! Hey and welcome everyone to a new video. I'm Capunator and it is a pleasure to talk to you today. In today's video we talk about some techniques, some hardware components, some skills you can train, some personal stuff you need to learn for actually improve your gameplay experience. Whatever, if you're playing Battle Royale, if you're playing a normal multiplayer, competitive games, I don't know, whatever you're playing, it doesn't matter, there are so many things that are equal. So this video is for everybody who's playing Battle Royale, who's playing multiplayer, no matter if it's Warzone, if it's Fortnite, if it's Apex, no matter what. And I will explain you really everything in this one video, so please give it a shot. I guess it will really help you really good. And yeah, before we start, I just move now up in the corner, so in the background you can see some gameplay. I guess I will just put some Call of Duty gameplay in it, maybe sniper gameplay. I will see later what I can do. So let us first start with the hardware. So with the hardware there are three different components I want to talk about. First of all, it's a headset. Why do you need a headset? The headset actually helps you to hear better footstep audio in most of the games, at least if the footstep audio is right balanced. So like this, you can locate your enemies easier and pick them off even before you see them. You can already pre-aim them, pre-fire them, and this will give you a big advantage. And of course, if you are actually really with your friends playing all the time, obviously I guess most of you have a headset, you are already communicating, but if you are not, use a headset because talking together really improves your team play a lot. Next is the monitor. Most of you, I bet, they already have a gaming monitor. If you do not have one, I really can recommend you using one. I have one for myself. It's an Asus TUF Gaming 24-inch. I can link you if I find a link on Amazon down below. And yeah, the most important components and most important points to watch for a monitor is actually frame rate, the reaction time, and then of course what sort of panel you are picking. So for me, I have a 24 inches, I've already said, 1080p monitor with up to 144 Hz refresh rate, 1 milliseconds G2G reaction time, and IPS panel. Yeah, IPS panel is great for colors, so if you look at your monitor in an angle, it doesn't really change the colors. That's a problem you have with VA panels often, so a good monitor will bring you the big advantage that if you can play with high frame rates, you will realize and recognize your enemies faster because you have double timed images compared to 60 frames, and this really can give you an advantage for seeing enemies, for reaction, for a faster reaction, just to kill them and pick them off before they can kill you off. So a good monitor is really an important point, and if you really have a good monitor, you'll be able to actually put on the middle of a screen a smaller crosshair, which will help you with centering, which we are talking about later. So mine can do this too, and I really love it. I use it all the time for my sniping videos. So that's important. The crosshair, 144 Hz, I would recommend you. You can go for 240 Hz if you want to, but it's really expensive then. And yeah, so 144 Hz monitors may be better because you get a lot of performance for not that much money, and the reaction time of, if possible, 1 milliseconds. If you are playing on console like PS4 or Xbox One, I guess they are not able to play or actually give an output faster than 60 Hz. So I do not recommend you to actually buy a gaming monitor for PS4 or just Xbox One. But if you are on PC, PS5 or Xbox Series X, I guess has it too, you can play at 120 Hz on the consoles. I'm not sure for the Xbox, for the PlayStation, I know you can play 120 Hz Cold War and Fortnite. And of course, if you're a PC player, I mean, I'm talking to someone who maybe knows better than I am, what I'm talking about. So if you're on PC, obviously, you are already playing at, I guess, at least 140 Hz. So that's the point for the monitor. Then third, I'm going to talk about the controller. I'm a controller player, so I'm going to talk about controller. If you're a mouse and keyboard player, of course, there are also some hardware improvements there. There are mechanical mouse, keyboards, and lightweight mouses, stuff like that. But there, I'm really not an expert, so cannot give you a lot of advice there. So I'm going to talk about controller. And the important thing about the controller is actually take one you are actually really comfortable with. I'm pretty comfortable with the PlayStation 5 original controller. And then you can improve two things. First of all, you can actually buy a scuff controller if you want to. Like this, you get the paddles on the back, which help you for jumping and reloading, stuff like that, all at the same time. Gives you more control because you have more keybinds. Or if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a scuff controller, you can just buy those extended thumbsticks for controllers, which gives you a little bit more of control because you have more way to move with your thumb. This can also improve your aiming a bit, and it's not that expensive, so this is really one of the cheaper ways, I would say. And if you still want to have a lot of control while gaming and you don't have the money to buy a scuff, you can play claw. I'm playing claw like I guess a little bit over a year now, and it feels pretty natural for me. Like this, I can shoot, reload, jump, go prone all at the same time, so this really helps me for the movement, which we will talk about later. If you need a separate video about how I play claw, how you can play claw, just leave it down in the comments. I will explain to you if you need to. So now we are actually going to talk about some skills you can improve. Everybody of you knows them, most of them at least. First of all, aiming. All of you know what aiming is. It's actually just pointing your middle of the crosshair at your enemies. And for aiming, there are special things you can do to actually improve it. First of all, before you start every sort of training, choose a sensitivity. It will really be so many opinions on how to choose your sensitivity. Someone will tell you put it really high, someone will tell you don't go too high, you need to hit your shots. Listen to whatever you're good to, but if you have one, stay with this one. Me, for example, on Cold War, I'm playing with a 6 sensitivity with a 1.5 multiplier with high zoom scopes and 0.9 multiplier for low zoom scopes. Maybe this help you, and also important, if you have a field of view slider in the game, choose every time the same field of view slider because it affects actually aiming indirectly, so always having the same really helps you with taking the feeling of aim in one game and take it to another game. And now what you can do to actually improve your aim is do some training. There are like firing ranges in Apex, a creative mode in Fortnite, or just custom games in Cold War. Go in, play with a friend, do some 1v1s, or if you do not have friends around because they're not online, you can actually also do some custom games against bots, at least on Cold War. That's what I'm doing all the time. I'll leave you a link up here, I don't know, up in the corner, which shows you next extra video where I just explain all the warm-up I do every time before I hop on some Cold War. So that's everything about aiming, and this skill really is training, and be patient, and do not always change your sensitivity because that's what most of the time kicks you off. If you have found one you're comfortable with, stay with it. Next we are going to talk about another skill, it's centering. And what is actually centering? Centering is the ability to put your center of the crosshair on your screen on the point where you think an enemy will appear. So this means, for example, if you are watching at a door and you think there's someone coming through that doorway, you are already pointing at the doorway. You don't have to aim down sight, but with the middle of your screen, you're already on that doorway. Like this, if he comes straight, you can just quick aim down sight and pick him up. That's something, it's really essential for sniping, especially in Cold War. So that's something I'm really training a lot when I'm war up. And this skill is really important, and especially in games where you have a short time to kill, like for example with snipers in CSGO. That's one of the, I would say it's one of the most important skills actually, crosshair placement and centering like this. So that's a good to know, but how can you improve that? Again, play some custom games with a friend against some bots, but this time instead of just shooting them down, training your aim, actually try to maybe snipe or something like that with the centering, because while sniping the centering is really important, because if you're actually sniping and quick scoping, you're automatically basically adapting your centering skills. So that's it for the centering skills. Next we are going to talk about strafing and chop shotting, and here it's actually important to say that most of the time I also train this in a custom lobby or in 1v1 if you can. If you do not have someone around, I guess it does not really work with bots a lot because they are not really giving you a challenge because they're just standing still. But what you can do, I will now put your clip in here for me. I'm actually training this on Cold War. I go on the map, I fix a point on the wall, and then I just go left to right, strafing, staying at that point with my crosshair, and try to aim always at the same point. Sometimes jump shotting a little bit, jumping, going prone, stuff like that, because this makes it so difficult for your enemies to hit you. And here's also where playing Chlor, having a scarf is really useful, because this makes it easy for you to say two things at the same time, because most of you, I guess, if they are just playing on controller normally, they cannot jump, reload and pull the trigger at the same time, or aiming and reload and pull the trigger at the same time. So that's a little bit of the problem, and yeah, that's something you really can work on if you are playing Claw and then go strafing. Try to learn to strafe not only from left to right, always at the same time. Make some faster movements, jump sometimes, crouch sometimes. That's it for the strafing and jump shotting skill. Next skill you can really train is something I would say rather important for Battle Royale games. It's positioning, rotation. It's so important, like in games like Fortnite, Apex or Warzone, having high ground, so learn how to go from one point to another, not just straight in a line. Maybe move around some buildings, go on top of some buildings, have a good position, learn what your enemy will do, and give them not good line of sight. Have the control of the map, like if you're standing on top of a building, you have the full control if you're aiming above, down on him, because he cannot really do much to go in cover, but you can, because if you're just going back like 2-3 steps, you're not visible for him. But if you're ready again to shoot, you just move forward and you have the full control on edges of buildings like that, so you're in the control of when the fight is going on and when it's not. So last thing I want to talk about is the mindset and the personal behavior if you're not feeling good and stuff like that. First of all, the mindset is really important. If you're warming up, if you are going into like 1v1s just to go into the game a little bit before you start actually playing it, tell yourself that you will hit your shots, be focused on the game, and be confident, but not too confident, because if you're too confident, most of the time you make stupid decisions. And at least from, I would say, a little bit above average skill gap, people are going to just wait for this mistake you're going to do and then just laser you and you're dead. So don't be too confident, really. Don't be too confident, don't be too cocky with your teammates, because that often happens from teammates who think they're just God, but you're not. But be confident, tell yourself that you can hit your shots and that you will win this game, because this actually helps in the back of your head, and your head will actually just remember that and perform better. And the last point is personal feeling. If you are tired, if you're hungry, if you are thirsty and dehydrated, don't play video games, it will not help. First of all, have always a little bit of water by your side, like this you stay hydrated, you have always enough to drink. If you like, you can drink some G Fuel if you need to. Me personally, I'm just someone who always has water by his side. Eat enough, eat I don't know, all 3 hours, eat something, take the big meals of course, normally. And like this, you are fresh, hydrated, and you're ready to play, and sleep enough. Sometimes it can be better to just take a pause if you have played enough. If you're just tired of gaming, it's not necessarily better to force yourself and invest 3, 4, 5 hours, and you will not improve in those hours because you're tired of gaming. Take a break. Sometimes also just a whole day of not gaming can help you to refresh, and then coming back actually even stronger and better. So these were all the tips I have for you to improve your gameplay, whether it's Battle Royale, multiplayer, if it's Fortnite, Warzone or Apex. Try those out, tell me if there's something that helped you, and tell me if I forgot something. And yeah, at this point, thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, of course, I will be really happy about the subscription and the like on this video. Down in the description of the video, there's also a link to a Discord server, my personal Discord server. So if you want to join, finding people to play, discuss with me, just join in. And there's also some merch from me, which will support me. I get 5% from whatever you buy if you're using my code, and you get 5% off too. So that's pretty cool of a deal. So if you want to support me, that's the things you can do. And yeah, my name is Capunator, and it was a pleasure to talk to you today. I hope to see you back soon for another video. Ciao.